Every morning, in homes across India, people begin their day with a simple glass of Jeera water. You have probably heard the same promises again and again. It improves digestion, removes gas, reduces acidity, cleans the stomach, and even burns belly fat. But how much of that is actually supported by science? I am Dr. Rajesh Kumar, and as a gastroenterologist, I want to give you a useful answer, not simply tell you that Jeera water is either wonderful or useless. The truth is more interesting. Jeera is not a miracle drink, but it is not meaningless either. And if you stay with me, I will show you exactly where the science supports traditional wisdom, where the claims become exaggerated, and the one mistake you should not make if digestive symptoms keep returning. Jeera or cumin has been used in Indian cooking and traditional practice for generations. It contains several biologically active substances, including essential oils and plant compounds such as phenolics. Laboratory studies have shown antioxidant and antimicrobial activity in cumin preparations, and some human research has also explored its effects on digestive symptoms and bowel function. This is why the traditional use of Jeera deserves attention. Cumin has long been used as a carminative, a substance traditionally taken to ease gas, bloating, and abdominal discomfort. Small clinical studies have reported improvements in some digestive symptoms and bowel function with specific cumin preparations, although the evidence is still limited. But this is where you must make an important distinction. Evidence that cumin contains active compounds is not proof that one glass of Jeera water can treat a digestive disease. And evidence from cumin extracts, powders, or other preparations cannot automatically be applied to homemade Jeera water. That difference matters, especially after 60. If you drink Jeera water after a heavy meal and feel lighter, that experience can be perfectly real. But feeling better does not tell us why the symptom occurred, and it does not prove that the underlying cause has been treated. Jeera water is not an established treatment for gastritis, peptic ulcers, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or irritable bowel syndrome. These conditions have different causes and require different approaches. So before you call Jeera water a cure, there is one question we need to answer first. When it seems to relieve gas and bloating, what is actually happening inside your digestive system? That is where we will go next. So what is actually happening when Jeera water seems to relieve gas and bloating? Imagine you finish lunch and 2 or 3 hours later, your abdomen feels tight and heavy, your clothes feel uncomfortable, you are passing more gas, and you feel unusually full. You drink warm Jeera water, and after some time you feel better. It is easy to conclude the Jeera removed the gas. But the digestive system is not that simple. Gas normally enters the digestive tract in two main ways. You swallow some air while eating and drinking, and bacteria in the large intestine produce gas when they break down carbohydrates that were not fully digested earlier. Bloating is the sensation of fullness or pressure that you feel in the abdomen. It does not always mean that an abnormal amount of gas is trapped inside you. This matters because several different problems can produce almost the same symptom. You may feel bloated because you ate too quickly or had a very large meal. Constipation can leave stools sitting longer in the bowel and make the abdomen feel full. Lactose intolerance can cause gas and bloating after milk or other dairy foods. Certain fermentable carbohydrates can also trigger symptoms, especially in people with a sensitive gut. Irritable bowel syndrome, celiac disease, and in selected people, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth can also be part of the picture. So where does Jeera water fit in? If you enjoy a warm glass after food and it settles your stomach, there is nothing wrong with recognizing that benefit. The warmth and fluid themselves can feel soothing. Your symptoms may also be settling naturally as digestion progresses. And cumin itself contains compounds that have been studied for possible digestive effect. But you cannot tell which explanation is responsible simply because you felt better after drinking it. This is the mistake I want you to avoid, especially after 60. Feeling less bloated does not tell you why the bloating happened in the first place. If you feel bloated once after a wedding meal, a rich dinner, or eating too quickly, that is very different from waking up bloated every day becoming uncomfortable after most meals, or repeatedly changing your diet because your stomach never feels right. A simple record of what you ate when the bloating started and how your bowel movements changed can sometimes reveal a useful pattern. If Jeera Water helps you occasionally, you can continue using it as a food-based drink if it suits you. But if you need it every day just to control the same recurring symptom, the important question is no longer which home remedy should I try next. The question is, why does this bloating keep coming back? Because when a symptom becomes persistent, the right approach is to identify the trigger or underlying condition rather than repeatedly covering it up. And this same principle becomes even more important with another word Indians use every day: acidity. What people call acidity can actually represent several different digestive problems, and Jeera Water cannot treat all of them in the same way. Now, let us come to one of the most common words people use in India: acidity. When someone says, "Doctor, I have acidity," that can mean several different things. One person may mean burning behind the breastbone, another may mean sour liquid coming into the mouth, someone else may be describing upper abdominal discomfort, nausea, belching, or heaviness after food. These symptoms are not all the same condition. If you regularly have heartburn or regurgitation, especially after meals or when lying down, gastroesophageal reflux disease or GERD may be part of the problem. In reflux, stomach contents move backwards into the esophagus. The oesophagus does not have the same protection against acid as the stomach, so repeated exposure can produce burning, irritation, and discomfort. Now imagine that you drink Jeera Water and the burning settles for a while. You may naturally think, this has treated my acidity. But symptom relief is not the same as treating reflux. Jeera Water is not an established treatment for GERD. If reflux keeps returning, the right approach is to look at the pattern. When it happens, what you eat, whether symptoms worsen after large or late meals, whether they disturb your sleep, and whether you are having repeated regurgitation or heartburn. And acidity can also hide a completely different problem. Peptic ulcers, for example, are open sores in the lining of the stomach or the first part of the small intestine. Two important causes are Helicobacter pylori infection and the use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medicines such as ibuprofen and naproxen. If H. pylori is causing the ulcer, Jeera Water cannot eradicate that infection. If a medicine is contributing to an ulcer, adding a home remedy does not remove that cause. This is why I want you to stop treating the word acidity as if it were a diagnosis. If you find these explanations useful and you want clear, science-based digestive health guidance after 60, subscribe to the channel. There is another practical point. Do not assume that every burning sensation needs more and more kitchen remedies. If symptoms are persistent, keep returning, wake you at night, or are becoming more troublesome, they deserve proper attention. Difficulty swallowing, vomiting blood, black, tarry stools, unexplained weight loss, or persistent vomiting should never be managed only with a home drink. You do not need to fear Jeera Water. If you enjoy it and it suits your stomach, you can continue drinking it as a traditional food-based beverage, but use it for what it is, not for what social media promises it to be. That distinction protects you from two mistakes: ignoring a digestive problem that needs treatment and giving up a familiar food simply because it is not a medicine. This is where the difference between an interesting study and a social media promise becomes very important. The claim that attracts the most attention is this: can Jeera Water actually burn belly fat? Let me be very clear. No morning drink can selectively melt fat from your abdomen. Losing abdominal fat happens when your overall lifestyle creates sustained fat loss over time. Your total food intake, diet quality, protein and fiber, physical activity, strength training, sleep, and long-term consistency still matter. This does not mean cumin has never been studied for weight or metabolic health. It has. Some clinical trials have reported improvements in body weight, waist circumference, or metabolic markers with specific cumin preparations. A recent meta-analysis has also found possible benefits for some metabolic measures, including waist circumference. But this is where social media often takes one scientific finding and stretches it beyond the evidence. These studies used specific cumin preparations and measured doses over several weeks, which is very different from homemade Jeera water. So if someone tells you drink Jeera water for 7 days and your belly fat will melt, that is not a scientific conclusion. Your body also cannot choose to burn fat only from the stomach because you drank a particular beverage. Where you store and lose fat is influenced by your overall energy balance, age, hormones, genetics, and activity. This brings us to another popular word, detox. You may hear that Jeera water cleans the stomach, flushes toxins, or gives the digestive system a morning detox. Your stomach is not a dirty vessel that needs to be washed clean every morning. Your liver processes many substances entering the body, while your kidneys filter the blood and remove waste and extra water through urine. So what can Jeera water realistically do? It can be a simple, low-calorie, traditional drink. If you take it without adding sugar, it can contribute to your fluid intake. And if you find that it feels comfortable after meals, you can continue enjoying it. But give it the correct job. Do not ask Jeera water to do what only your overall diet, movement, sleep, and medical care can accomplish. And I want to know how many of you already use it. If Jeera water is part of your routine, write Jeera water in the comments. The important message is simple. Traditional foods can have value without becoming miracle treatments. You do not need to reject Jeera, and you do not need to worship it either. Use it sensibly. Keep the portions reasonable, avoid turning it into a sugary drink, and remember that if your goal is reducing abdominal fat or improving metabolic health after 60, the daily habits you repeat for months matter far more than one glass you drink in the morning. But there is one final question. Who can continue drinking Jeera water, and when should recurring digestive symptoms make you stop experimenting with home remedies and get the real cause checked? That is what we will settle in the final part. Now, let us bring everything together and answer the question clearly. Should you drink Jeera water every morning? If you enjoy it, it suits your stomach, and you are using it as a simple traditional drink, you do not need to stop. Jeera is a familiar food ingredient, and there's no need to turn this discussion into a fight between tradition and modern medicine. The right approach is to understand its limits. Jeera water can be part of your routine. Some people feel more comfortable after drinking it, but it should not become your treatment for repeated bloating, persistent heartburn, ongoing indigestion, peptic ulcers, or another digestive disease. And after 60, this distinction becomes more important. If indigestion, upper abdominal discomfort, early fullness, or burning is new and keeps returning, do not spend weeks moving from Jeera to Ajwain to another kitchen remedy while the real cause remains unknown. At 60 or above, new or persistent dyspepsia deserves proper evaluation, and an upper gastrointestinal endoscopy is an important way to rule out an underlying organic problem. The same applies if you have difficulty swallowing, unexplained weight loss, vomiting blood, black, tarry stools, persistent vomiting, or symptoms that are getting worse. Those are not situations where another glass of Jeera water is the answer. So here is the simple plan I want you to remember. Use Jeera water as food, not as medicine. If it feels good and causes no problem, keep the quantity sensible and avoid loading it with sugar. Pay attention to what triggers your symptoms. Look at meal size, eating speed, constipation, dairy, late night eating, and other patterns we discussed. And if the same digestive problem keeps returning, stop asking, which home remedy should I add? Start asking, what is causing this? That question can save you months of frustration. My verdict is simple. Jeera water is not a miracle, but it is not meaningless. Traditional food practices can have value when we use them for the right purpose. The mistake begins when symptom relief is mistaken for a cure. You do not need an extreme routine to protect your digestion after 60. Eat sensibly, stay active, drink enough fluids, and get persistent symptoms checked properly. If this video helped you understand Jeera water more clearly, give this video a like. and share it with a family member or friend who drinks Jeera water every morning, because they may need to hear the difference between a helpful habit and a medical treatment.